Hello. It's been a minute for me to make a video on my second channel. I have been gone. I was on vacation and then I was camping. And pretty much I blinked and almost an entire month went by. And in that time, some very drastic and horrible and potentially societal changing things have happened. Or at least maybe they should be societally changing. Maybe they should. I mean, because we just keep having the same things happen over and over again. So, the day that I was flying into Belize, there was a mass shooting in New York where a white supremacist gunned down people in a predominantly black neighborhood in a supermarket. And he live streamed it. And I saw it. Of course I did. I watch all of those terrible fucking things because I don't want to look away. I want to make sure that I see it and that I know and I understand. You know, I don't want to necessarily hide from the evil in the world because I want to never forget that it is there. I don't like the idea of becoming so comfortable with the bad or with knowing that the bad happens and just being like, well, it's over there. I'm removed from it. It's something that's kind of a weird byproduct of the globalized nature of the internet. We have the ability to share our ideas with anybody all around the world, but at the same time, we replace so much of our communication day to day, and now there's this wall that separates us, this void of empathy, this gap. Now I mention that because I think it's pretty important, and it might come up here again in this video as I do this. This is all off the cuff. I don't have a script. I just have a couple of notes that I want to touch on. So that happened, and then just a few short, little bit of time later, the mass shooting at the elementary school in Uvalde, where some unhinged piece of shit murdered a bunch of kids. Now, there is a lot to all of these situations, these shootings. And immediately the political response is the same as it always has been. The Democrats are going to say we need gun control. The Republicans are going to say we need mental health. The Democrats will fail to pass any gun control, and the Republicans will yet again balk at the idea of Medicare for all or really any spending whatsoever that could help with mental health. It is a constant and perpetual failure of action in every way. And in my perspective, I this is going to sound fucking weird coming from me. I think the Republicans actually are kind of a little bit more right than the Democrats, but only by that much. Only by that much. And that might sound fucking weird coming from me because I really fucking dislike the right. I really fucking do. But if I was to look at those two things, what I think could, if we really put a shit ton of money into both, I think that facilitating for better social programs and for improving people's access to healthcare and to mental health care would actually have an overall benefit to so many aspects of our lives that would also impact the potentiality for lethal mass spree killers. But is that the answer? No. And is gun control completely irrelevant? No. No, it's not. But there are things that we have to understand about many of them, okay? And I want to talk about specifically gun control just for a moment. There's an amazing video put out by Bo the Fifth Column in which he talks about the assault weapons ban. For those who don't know, the assault weapons ban here in America limited the ability to sell assault weapons if they had a muzzle device like a flash hider or something, or a compensator, a bayonet lug, and it limited magazine capacity. And I think there was also something about like pistol grips, you know? Now, the thing is, all you have to do to get around that is to take that AR-15 or that AK-47 and make very simple cosmetic changes to it, and you can still sell it. And they did. They did. They sold more assault weapons during the assault weapons ban than before. My dad owned one. My dad owned a modified legal AK. I cannot for the life of me understand how this doesn't really filter in. There are so many ways in which if you enact a type of restrictive gun control based upon the weapon, that somebody's going to find a way around it, and the machine is just going to keep going. Simple as that. I'm usually not big on gun control only because I don't think it will help. That's why. Not because I have a problem with infringing on freedoms. If you want to put, enact waiting periods, fine. Background checks, fine. I can pass all of those things. I've gotten extensive background checks for various different things throughout my life. It won't impact me as a legal and responsible gun owner. It wouldn't impact anybody else who is a legal and responsible gun owner. But could it maybe, potentially, possibly, kind of stop a little bit? Would the inconvenience of having to wait 9 days to get your gun and also have to pass a background check, if that could stop 5% of mass shootings? Well, that's 5% of mass shootings that don't happen. So I can see some of the logic in people wanting to go for it. And sure, okay, fine. But the thing is that when you talk about gun control, that's really all you're going to be talking about. And that's the problem with the Democrat position. They talk about gun control, and they don't talk about everything else. Changes in society. They want to make changes to a system that will be ineffectual and not address any of the things that are happening in our society that might be able to make things better. I have a problem with that. And on the Republican side of it, it's an excuse that's accidentally kind of correct, that they're going to vote against constantly anyway. So here we are again, and we're stuck. The very basic concept of this is so frustrating too. I mean, there's a video I'd like to make where I talk about maybe what some of these guns are and how they function and how just the concept of being we're going to ban the AR-15 makes no fucking sense. It just doesn't. The reason why you see so many fucking shootings with AR-15s is because they're popular. Not because it's the overwhelming weapon of death. We have a problem, and it stems from systemic failures in society. When those children were getting slaughtered in Uvalde, the police stood outside and prevented the parents, arrested some parents, were throwing them to the ground and handcuffing them, preventing them from trying to save their own children. And they didn't go in because they were afraid of getting shot. And I hate to say this, but the cops are not there to protect you. They're not. You need to understand that police in America are not your friend. They're not there to protect you. Why do we have undercover police cars? Why do we have that? In other countries in the world, the cars for the police are lit up very brightly. Do you know why? So that when people are in trouble, they can find the police. We don't do that here because the police are not here to protect us. The police are here to punish us, to catch us. This is a problem with the perspective of our country. This is a problem with our relationship with authority. We have normalized this fucking idea that the police are our bosses. And the Supreme Court has ruled that they have no duty to protect human life. They don't even have to do their fucking jobs. All they have to do is fill the quota for speeding tickets. This is a failure in our system, a failure in society. We stigmatize people who are fucking different. We encourage a culture of shame and derision towards others. and it filters down and is even more supercharged in the culture of our kids, in our schools. We shame people for being mentally ill. We abandon people that are uncomfortable to us, like homeless people. We sweep them under the fucking rug. We have a culture that is eroding because we lack empathy. We lack understanding. We lack patience. We have this void between us here on the internet. This void where you and I, we can't really connect like we could in real life. We were standing there, sharing the same space, hearing each other's voices, seeing each other's body movement. There's a void there, and it's hard to overcome. But that void is being created in between people in the same space now. Otherism. It's hideous. So when people ask these questions, well, why are all these mass shootings happening? People are like, it's the guns. Well, they don't help. I'll agree to that. Or it's the mental illness, or fucking some jackass at one point like tried to make it like of course people are gonna do mass shootings, like, look at how many trans people there are. Yeah, that guy can eat all my ass. What the fuck? That's just disgusting. But no. Why do we have mass shootings? Because the American culture is sick. That's why. If there are steps that we can take to try and mitigate and diminish how many of these things are going to fucking happen, sure, I'm down. As long as we can maintain some freedoms and have a balancing act where we're being realistic about it, sure. Should we be investing in our fucking country, in the well-being of everybody, lifting everybody up? Yeah, I think more than anything that would probably help. I honestly, I don't see any way that we can stop what's happening unless we address the root cause. And it requires us to come face to face with a very, very salient and uncomfortable truth. And that is the reason why this happens, is because America is sick. We are sick. We've allowed it to happen. We've given up control. We allow these fucking thin blue line coward motherfuckers to be our bosses. We've decided to hero worship our fucking politicians. And we hope, and when they give us just a little bit of maybe improvement to society, we're grateful. We're grateful. It's our fucking country. Please, sir, could we have a little bit of social spending? Meanwhile, all this shit just continues to dissolve and get worse and get fucking worse and get fucking worse. And right now, the big thing that the Republicans want to fucking talk about is like some dude went and he was going to like break into Kavanaugh's house and do something spooky. And you know what? Fuck that guy. You shouldn't do that. That's wrong. But, you know, maybe Republicans should be arguing that all Supreme Court justices' houses have one single point of entry, okay?
Actual JK Cabby woke fire. Actual JK Cabby woke fire. Actual JK Cabby. Actual JK Cabby. Actual JK Cabby.
I probably should have turned off stream alerts. Anyway, that's my fucking rant. Man, it's sad. It's sad. But I hope at some point we as a culture, we can have the bravery to really look at this and make the changes that we need, to be demanding. And
yeah, he is.
I don't have any better answers for you guys. I am sorry. But yeah, we'll talk about like weapons and gun control a little bit more in depth in another video. But I'm back and back to work.